Mama Jen had a big impact on my life. And when I got here to college and didn't understand exactly what I wanted, I knew I wanted to be a communications major because I love speaking and love talking and things like that, and I could talk. But one thing I kind of left out was how much I enjoyed spending time with kids and helping them out. Because with Mama Jen did that a lot. She did after school cares and things like that. And I used to go with her.
I used to work part-time in an after-school program for at-risk children. And whenever he was home, he would come and he would speak to this group of kids. He would come and play with them and you know, share his story and encourage them and let them know that the choices they make influences where they'll go.
You know, just seeing a lot of them who were in the same place I was in. So it was just great doing that. And I talked to Mama Jen about it, and I was like, I'm almost done with my major. I don't know what to do now. And she's like, try to pick up another major, pick up a minor or something like that. So they talked to me about schools, education, and societies minor. I can actually work with kids and things like that. I started taking a class with Miss Parker. And for her class, we had to do some community service work. And she sat me down and she was just talking to me. She was like, what type of stuff do you want to do? I was like, I want to help kids who are in the same shoes I was in. It has to be 8th grade, because that was the grade I was picked up in by Mama Jen. And it has to be kids who I feel like need me. You know, kids who I feel like myself, I didn't have a role model. I didn't have anybody in my 8th grade year until I met Mama Jen. I wanna get to those kids. And she was like, I know just the person you should talk to. She introduced me to Alan Brown. Dr. Brown was like, listen, I want to do this thing that connects sports and literacy together so we can connect with these kids on a sports level, but smallly, we're getting to them academically, and they don't even know it because we're just reading a book that's about sports.
Well, I think it's had a huge impact, and it's impacted them not just academically, but also with their self-confidence and then obviously their ability to have this drive to want to be in class and be productive and be an active participant in a classroom. But it specifically helped to have an older role model who has said, okay, sports are great and that's awesome, but academics are super important too, and the way you carry yourself and the way you present yourself, not just in school but outside of school, is huge too. So it's just really, it's kind of made them more well-rounded kids overall, and we see that in all of our classes throughout school.
Sports is definitely the theme, and it's not the message. The message is to engage these kids' social and academic skills through sports literacy. You know, when we target the kids who solely want to be an athlete when they get to high school and possibly college, and the thing that's holding a lot of those kids back is they can't get their academics straight. They don't know how to get their academics straight. So that's what we do. We read a sports novel so they can relate to it. And when they can relate to it, when they can know the struggles that this person in this book is going through, they can connect with it. And when they make those connections, they can engage and want to talk about this. You know, you get kids raising their hands and saying, oh, I know how that feels. And when you can have that conversation with them, they can be like, oh, wow, I can actually connect with a book. And when they can feel that connection with a book, then it encourages them to want to read more books.
Wendell has always been a natural leader. People follow him, his peers. He naturally kind of just takes people under his wing. He has a few younger brothers that he really cares about, and these kids, I know that him being a role model to them will affect their future.
I mean, these kids are just like me. Like, I see myself in these kids so much. And it's funny, and sometimes it's not even myself. Sometimes it's my little brother. Sometimes it's a person I grew up with. Like, you can see just the small things. You can hear the conversations that we're having with these kids and the struggles that they're going through. Like, when I was in elementary school and middle school, I used to have to come home and watch my younger siblings. I couldn't go outside and play. I couldn't go outside and be a normal kid. So when you can connect with those kids like that, and I can talk to them and tell them, listen, it's gonna get better. You just have to do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do. Take care of your academics and you'll be great. You'll be good. You'll be able to get out of the house because your grades are good. And you have the athleticism and you can take that wherever you want.
I think it's one thing for someone like me to preach at them, but then you have a living example who has come in and just been so incredibly patient and supportive and kind, and they really look forward to seeing him all the time, and specifically Wendell's demeanor, and he gets any work out of them that like some of us can't, just because they love being around him and they want to impress him.
The education department here is just teaching us so much about how we can connect to kids. You know, some people think they can just get there and talk to kids and say what you got to say and expect these kids to understand it. But sometimes you just got to listen, and all you got to do is tell them, I hear you, and it's hard, and they'll understand that you understand.
Possibly his heart's even bigger than it was before. You know, like, we weren't pushing him to go get involved in a school. That was something that he wanted to do, and he did, and he has a heart. Every time he comes home, if there's an opportunity to speak to a team or to go do something, he'll do it. I mean, he has a passion to see younger kids make it.
One thing that I hope that these kids would take away from Mr. Dunn is to shoot for the stars and trust your teachers. That's one thing I would really want these kids to understand, that your teachers are not out to get you. I thought Ms. Borton was just a teacher who wouldn't give me good grades at the time I met her, because I had a D in her class for the first semester. I was just like, she's against me. And she wasn't. And because I opened up to her, she taught me that the sky was the limit.
He's also just even more driven. He's always been, you know, an overcomer, and he's always just worked hard. But I think now he has more of a goal in mind, and he knows what he wants, and just to see him living his life is very encouraging, because he is making a difference, and he just makes us so proud.